Hey, what's up everybody? It's King here, back with another video. And today, I am ranking every single bit of Smash Bros. DLC there is, which is why, of course, I am on the Umbrous Clock Tower with with Wii U characters. So I'm gonna rank these differently. I'm gonna do Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then I'm gonna do Smash for Wii U. So, first of all, we've got to think about the characters that we have on this list. We got Bayonetta, Cloud, Corrin, Ryu, Mewtwo, Lucas, and Roy. So, first of all, my least favorite character of the Smash list is Lucas. Lucas being, well, personally in my opinion, I feel like you could switch around Mewtwo, Roy, and Lucas and Corrin as much as you would like, depending on your preference. But my least favorite was Lucas. Mainly because I was never really a huge fan of him, and I would always prefer to play Ness, except for the fact that Lucas has DK freeze. But outside of that, he was my least favorite of the DLC. Now, Corrin. Corrin was a character I did not like. So, when I first got Corrin, I wasn't a huge fan. Gotta admit, yes, it's Corrin. Corrin. It's a character. I bought him because he was able to fit my budget. But Corrin was actually a lot of fun to play. He had a cool moveset and everything, but he was a Fire Emblem rep that had never come up yet, which is kind of annoying. Like, just being a Fire Emblem rep by Smash 4 means he's on the tier list I do, which is why Corrin is down where he is, because personally I did not like that Corrin was one of the new DLC fighters that we got, because at least every other DLC fighter was from a brand new game, out of the ones of brand new characters that have never been in Smash before, but Corrin was a Fire Emblem. But now, to be a hypocrite, my third place up on this list, I mean the third down, up from the bottom, will be Roy. Because, I mean, like all these other fighters, they did not come out with a stage, any music, or be from a new series. And Roy falls under this category. But Roy is by far the coolest of this group, because, I mean, Roy's our boy. And he's the coolest of the characters that I'm fairly neutral on, until Smash Ultimate. But during Wii U, I was fairly neutral when I got those games. I still don't have a few Lucas, Ryu, or Bayonetta anyways, but from what I've seen in this game and what I can say they came out with, I can safely use this list. But Lucas, I mean, Roy, honestly, kind of is just my least favorite of them. I mean, second up from the bottom, third up from the bottom. Just because Lucas is kind of just my least favorite compared to Roy, and then Corrin is like a worst Fire Emblem character because they costed more and they weren't from a new series, but they were also a brand new fighter. But I guess this brings us up to the number one, and the character I actually like, and the whole reason I got Smash for the Wii U, and yet I didn't even have the character until like my last 2 months until I got Smash Ultimate. And that is Mewtwo. I actually got Smash for the Wii U because it said Mewtwo was in the game. I was like, oh my god, if Mewtwo's in the game, I have to get him. And then also he's a cool Pokemon as well as my favorite Pokemon, which means of course I'm a little biased. And Jesus, I just healed that Lucas a lot. So of course my bias is going to take into effect with Mewtwo, but also he is by far my favorite because he was also a pre-order bonus for the year, which of course I did not was not able to claim because I didn't play Smash for the Wii U until Smash Bros. Ultimate was already out. Fantastic! I was still playing Smash Bros. Brawl by the time Wii U was done with DLC. I am so popular. But now I guess it's time to move into the DLC that came with stages and music. So, bottom tier for this. And, wow, okay. So, honestly, I feel kind of unfair rooting these four separate from the guys who came with stages, but you've also got to realize that for $2 more, you were getting a character with a stage, music, as well as a character, which was a 3-for-1 compared to the single individual characters, which kind of sucked. But first down on this list, and this, I'm kind of debating whether or not this is an unpopular opinion. But first down on this list is Bayonetta. Bayonetta came out with, I think, 11 music tracks, Bayonetta herself, and then her stage, the Umbrous Clock Tower, which we were just playing on. So, I mean, like, we've got a pretty decent character, the character that kind of destroyed the tier lists in the game, fairly interesting of a character, as well as a stage. Now, overall, Bayonetta is not a bad character. The other two characters are just better. I hate to phrase it like that, but that's how I kind of have to phrase it, because that's what Bayonetta was. She was a character worse than all the other DLC fighters that got in the game during this time. And, well, by character standing, not the worst, but by the characters with stages standing, she was by far the worst. And overall, I honestly don't feel bad for this position. I actually kind of like Bayonetta as a character. She's a very original character and all that, but overall the other two are just by far better. But her soundtrack probably doesn't get the whole
Making it easy.
Yes, thank you for proving my point. Now, second place. This is where stuff gets interesting and where we really get down to it. Because we've got Cloud at the second best DLC. Now, I don't actually have Ryu yet at this point in time, but Cloud, in my opinion, is the second best DLC in Smash Bros. Wii U. Because he came with a stage, which was Midgard, which was like Battlefield, but with a lot of extra stuff in the background. It had like these little balls that could pop up, yada yada, stuff like that. And honestly, it really was not that hard of a decision to place Cloud here. Well, actually, yes, it was. But over Bayonetta, yes, no, it was not. But overall, it really only came down to the soundtrack for this character, because if you guys didn't know, but when Cloud came out in Smash, there was 2 songs with it. And I mean, to be fair, it was the main soundtrack theme in Final Fantasy VII. And it was also a great thing with, Criminy. But it was also a decent song from the game, 2 decent songs. It wasn't like we got 2 random songs that nobody wanted. But one of the issues I had with Cloud being in the game was, one of the things, he broke the tier list again, like Bayonetta, but also this other character I feel like just deserved it. Even though Cloud not being here in this game would have changed the Smash roster forever, because we wouldn't have had ties with Square Enix. But outside of that, this other character I feel like is the single most important DLC fighter in Wii U, and actually the most important DLC fighter in quite a few good characters in Ultimate. And that is Ryu from Street Fighter. Now, before you guys get all antsy in the comments, I mean, like, yes, Nintendo had ties to Capcom before, because I believe I'm 100% correct with this, I hope, but Nintendo already had ties with Pac-Man and already had games on their Switch. I mean, on the Wii U and stuff like that. But Ryu is something we really didn't get outside of, like, Punch-Out. And I don't know if I could really count Punch-Out in this section. And that is a classic fighter. Which, I know, sounds crazy. Fighting game did not have a classic fighter. Which seemed stupid at the time. But Ryu getting into the game was huge. For A, because it's a classic fighter. C, it's a Capcom rep, which was just first introduced in this game. And also, it came with the most soundtracks, probably one of the coolest stages and most original at the point of Wii U's roster. As well as, like, one of the most influential fighting games in the world, being Street Fighter. I mean, like, there's Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat. Not in that order, please don't roast me like Tekken's not better than Mortal Kombat. Please don't be that kind of guy in the comment. That's not what I mean. But those are like the 3 big classic fighters. And Ryu represented that series for us. Which is why I believe he was the best DLC in Smash Bros. For Wii U. As well as having the most original moveset. But now, I suppose it is time to move on to Smash Bros. Ultimate. Smash Bros. Ultimate was a huge DLC game with what we could get. Now, before you guys start thinking, oh, he's gonna put Piranha Plant at the bottom. No, I am not. There's one DLC fighter that, well, I mean, this is my opinion too. So there's one DLC fighter that I believe is just it's a little hard for me to say. I did have this planned out, but I feel like the worst DLC is the single hardest. Because I think that title does go to Piranha Plant, but for all the wrong reasons. Piranha Plant, I think, costs the same amount as every other character. I think $1 less. came without a stage, came with no new music, and was from the Mario franchise. Actually, let me get into a match before I start talking about Piranha Plant. Let's get a stage that represents Piranha Plant. So, Piranha Plant, like I said, almost the same price, came from one of the largest represented series in the game, which, I mean, I'm not complaining about. But the thing that I feel like makes this decision difficult, but it's aside from the fact that Waluigi was a direct, sorry guys, Waluigi is my favorite, was my big character from the Mario franchise. I would have preferred. I think everybody except for Geno fans would have preferred that. It was Geno and Waluigi. But then the Piranha Plant got it. Now, normally this would be a bad thing. Normally, like, the price tag would instantly put this character at the bottom. And it didn't. It's just, I feel like this Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC was just so good that this character could almost be considered for the spots compared to all the other characters. And the reason I believe this is because Piranha Plant had such a unique moveset that it made us all question what a Smash was. And honestly, I feel like Piranha Plant was executed perfectly. And from a series like Mario, he was the perfect character to choose as not only a pre-order bonus, but the only DLC fighter to come without a stage. But because he didn't come with a stage, and all the other DLC fighters were just so top tier, I have to put him at this bottom position. But this is at no fault of Piranha Plant whatsoever. And this is not at fault of Smash Bros. Ultimate either. But I just feel like everyone else on this list is just straight up better in every way. And I'm probably gonna have, I'm hoping that'll be the last time I say this. But now it is time for my least favorite DLC of all the staged fighters. So, yeah, I've got some explaining to do on this one. So, my least favorite fighter of all the characters that came with stages is Joker. Oh, wow, okay, this is going to be an interesting explanation. So, I had no clue what Persona was before we got on this. I had, like, and Joker really is not my favorite. He's got an interesting gimmick, but it's honestly kind of just comes off as a comeback mechanic. And honestly, I kind of feel like that Joker is not the most overrated. He's definitely surprising. He came from a series that was not on Switch consoles yet, but he's not my cup of tea. Not my favorite character. He's cool looking, and honestly, without Arsene, I don't like him too much. He's a JoJo character. I mean, like, I love JoJo, but I can't justify putting Joker above a lot of the characters on this list. Considering I named quite a few of the characters on this list, mainly because I think the DLC is just interesting. So please don't call me pay to win. But I just think a lot of the DLC characters' mechanics are interesting. And honestly, between the mechanic, the stage, and the stage is definitely one of the coolest features about it, as well as the fact of what the character represents. A character not on Nintendo platforms yet. And the stage is amazing. But everyone else in this DLC's gimmick just, I think, is better in relativeness with their stage and what they represent. But Joker definitely is not a bad character. But, and it's a really hard decision ranking these, just because the Smash DLC was just that good. But now, I'm about to get a lot of people pissed off with this one. My second least favorite DLC was Banjo and Kazooie. Wow, I am getting roasted in the comments today. If anybody even thinks to watch this video, I'm getting dumped out. So, I'll explain why Byleth and Min Min are higher than this later. But Banjo and Kazooie, huge rep, huge retro rep, amazing character. I love the character by far. Definitely a huge character to fan. But I had no clue who Banjo and Kazooie was before this game. And, I mean, like, his gimmick being his side smash has invincibility, and you can only use it 5 times, really is not enough of a gimmick to me, personally, by all standards of living. But, also the stage, I think it's a phenomenal stage. But I just think a lot of the DLC for this game is better, because I just don't know. I love Banjo, I love the stage, I love the music. And I honestly just think the DLC is just so good in this game that I can place a fan favorite at this time. And I am sorry to everyone who loves Banjo and Kazooie, because I love Banjo too, and I kind of just got the third of him. And it just, I just don't know. Everything else on this list is just better. But now, but moving on from Banjo before I get destroyed. And yes, I do love Banjo, but I just don't think he's better than everyone else on this DLC list, in my opinion. But let me put a lot of your minds at ease and get it out of the way. The elephant in the room. Byleth, the worst and most hated character in the DLC. Byleth, the character from Fire Emblem Three Houses. The one to follow up Corrin as Fire Emblem DLC. And the end of Fighter Pass Volume 5. Definitely not a great call. But I kind of like Byleth, not gonna lie. Well, again, probably like the most hated decision on this list by a lot of people. And I just kind of like the weapon shrine. It's something I'm amazed we didn't see sooner in this list. And I felt like if they were going to add a DLC fighter like this, it was going to be Byleth like this. And I honestly feel like there was some switching around with the final DLC. And Byleth definitely is not a bad fighter, but she's Fire Emblem. That's the issue. Byleth is a Fire Emblem. That is the reason she is this low. Also, her stage is kind of lackluster. It doesn't add too much. It's just a flat stage. That moves. Now, it's time to move on from here. This is getting really difficult because I have an odd feeling I'm about to get roasted alive if I decide to go with what I actually want to put here. But I feel like I kind of have to put this character here. And that is Min Min, the other hated DLC fighter on this list. I mean, in the DLC of this game. But I love Min Min. Honestly, she's got the coolest gimmick out of all the DLC. I'm just actually second coolest. I forgot there's someone else on this list who kind of cheaters better than this. But Min Min is an ARMS rep, Nintendo first, but is the first character in the Fighter Pass Volume 2, which definitely puts her higher in position than Byleth. And honestly, I have no issue with Min Min. Her gimmick is incredible. Her stage is fantastic. Her soundtrack is great. Just every other character on this list can be better. And honestly, the fact that they all are third party, except for one other on this list, just puts Min Min below in so many ways. And I feel bad to Min Min because she by far doesn't deserve this, and she was a good DLC, especially to start up a Fighter Pass, getting the Nintendo reps out of the way, except they didn't, and there's still one left. But we'll get to that later. And Min Min is by far fantastic character, fantastic soundtrack, fantastic stage. It's just she wasn't the greatest greatest choice they could have gone with. Because I mean, they could have added in a lot of stuff instead of Min Min. And I feel like a lot of people were also upset that it was Min Min as the ARMS rep, which I'm honestly not. She's cool and all, but Min Min belongs in the spot right by Byleth, fitting. But over two characters, I'm not a huge fan. God, the Banjo decision is going to destroy me. I put Banjo under Byleth and Min Min just because of the gimmick. Jesus. People are going to hate me. But now, it is time for probably the hardest decision on this list, and possibly one of the decisions I'm going to get roasted for the most. I think Sora is by far my least favorite DLC fighter. From, well, not gameplay-wise, Sora's a pretty decent gameplay-wise. But I feel like out of every character and what series they come from, I don't like Disney. I'm just going to say it and get it out of the way. Disney is not my favorite company in the world. And I feel bad for Sora because he's a cool character. It's just he comes from Disney. And Disney being on the name of Nintendo kind of drives me nuts. But the stage I honestly think is my favorite of this DLC, just because it's tournaments competitive. Outside of the fact that it morphs, and even the morph is pretty good. But honestly, this character is amazing. The gimmick is amazing. The Square Enix and Disney representation is amazing. But I'm just not a huge fan of Kingdom Hearts and Disney. That's the only reason he's here. And I'm sorry, Sora fans, but that is just my opinion there. I'm not going to hold that back or even think about it again. Because, I mean, Banjo I kind of feel bad about putting him under Min Min and Byleth. But Sora I feel like belongs here in my opinion, without any kind of hesitation. Now, it's time to move on to one of my favorite DLC fighters, Sephiroth. Sephiroth, I believe, belongs in this spot on the list, in my opinion. This isn't like a retrospective series thing. This is Sephiroth. This is my opinion on this. Like, in my opinion, Sephiroth belongs here. Because I love the character. The gimmick is amazing. The character's gameplay is fantastic. And the rivalry of Sephiroth and Cloud just elevates this character. And I could not have asked for a better soundtrack here. Because this song, single-handedly, I think is one of my favorite songs in Smash. And honestly, Sephiroth represents a lot for Smash. Not only is he our third Square Enix rep, at least at time of his release, he's our one of 4 if you count at the end of the game, but also him and Cloud, the dynamic duo and villainness, and getting our villain reps in, as well as finishing out the soundtrack for Final Fantasy VII. And can we just realize that that reveal trailer slapped? Cutting Galeem in half single-handedly was incredible. And I don't think anyone can argue with me on that one, because it was amazing, that reveal trailer. And Sephiroth is such a fun character to play, as well as such a cool character. But I just like everyone else more on this list. And I do think he belongs here. He's not the best, or even by far top 3, but he's definitely not the worst, by any means. But now it's time to get a classic fighter out of the way. The best stage, the second best stage out of all the DLCs. And yes, I know, we're going from Sephiroth, a classic villain, to a retro fighter of Terry. God, this is going to be hard to explain. Terry came with the most songs out of all the DLCs. Sakurai's a fan pick. Sakurai fanboyed over this character big time. As well as him being a classic fighter with combo potential, the go mechanic, as well as the fact that he has that whole thing with whole turning towards his opponent crap. I honestly think that's amazing. Also, the representation from his game and his stage is fantastic, as well as his spiritless, which I haven't really talked too much about, but I'm good without talking about that for now. Just because I've never played any of these games except for Minecraft before they got entered into Smash, and I am proud of that thought. But Terry honestly is one of my favorite DLC. I'm a little biased. He was my main for quite a bit of time, and the stage having these walls is like the most retro gaming thing in the world. And for stamina battles, it's amazing. But Terry, you are my third favorite DLC, and you 100% deserve this spot. But not only do we have a better classic fighter, which I will talk about shortly. Oh wait, top 4, sorry. Not only do we have a better classic fighter on this list, but your stage is not enough to save you. But I suppose, I don't know what to choose. I know who I'm putting at number 1 on this list, but I don't know if I should put the Nintendo rep at number 2. But I feel like I'm gonna have to put them at number 3 because Piranha. God dang, I'm a Xenoblade Chronicles fan without ever playing the games. Like the character roster they've got going with Smash already is fantastic. Like Shulk is an amazing fighter, and Pyra are 2 amazing fighters, and they're both a duo character which can swap. This was a 2-for-1 deal. And actually, you know what? Sorry, this character's number 2. I can't justify putting this character under Kazuya. This character is my second favorite, and there's only one. Actually, God damn it, 1 sec. Sorry, I have to cancel this. I feel so bad for this list, and I'm gonna get destroyed in the comments for this one. But I cannot put Pyra and Mithra where they are. I just can't lie to myself like that. I like them too much. So, my true number 3 is Kaziyamishi, the classic fighter from Tekken. Probably one of the coolest combo characters in this game. Like, Kazuya comes from Tekken, which is a huge fighting game, as well as his stage looking fantastic with Hayachi even on here. But I feel like the fact that he can use combos with tilts just elevates him beyond every other classic fighter in this game. And there's a good reason for him being here. Not only are the other 2 characters left fantastic additions to the Smash roster, but also Kazuya is just overall one of the coolest fighters on this list. Classic fighter, check. Good fit for Smash, check. Having a cool mechanic of not only the devil mechanic, but also the tilt, every tilt direction being a different attack. It's absolutely fantastic. And I love this character in every way. And he honestly is really deserving of my third place spot, as well as repping a new franchise. And now it is time to go to the number 2. A character I honestly thought I could put at number 1, but I can't. Pyra Mythra is just better. I can't. It's just too much. But that rep is here. The hero to save this Smash roster. Overall, probably one of my favorite DLC games out of this whole game. Sorry, let me just have him killed. And I love his gimmick so much. I love the game he represents. The whole soundtrack is a bomb. And the stage is fantastic. But I just like one other character more. And the thought of being able to use this character for fun is honestly just so much better to me. Because he can use 20 different moves out of his down. And then he can sit here and be... Okay, wow. I am not playing this game correctly. And honestly, I love this character. He's the best casual Smash character in the game. And honestly, I feel bad for not being able to put him higher, but there's just characters I like. Also, putting him up on this list, he can kamikaze, which I think is hilarious. And, I mean, I feel bad, but he's number 2. He's my second favorite DLC in all of Smash Bros. And he's very deserving of this spot, and I cannot justify putting him any lower. But now it is time for my favorite DLC fighter. A Nintendo rep. 4 Nintendo reps out of the 10 DLC fighters, and I'm about to put one of them at number 1. Yes, I know I'm going crazy. It's also midnight, so that could have anything to do with it, but I know for a fact it doesn't. I love Pyra Mythra. Ignore that they're a female character, because that has nothing to do with it. Ignore that there's Xenoblade Chronicles, which has a lot of good characters. But they're a 2-in-1 fighter on probably one of the most original stages, as well as bringing back one of the coolest mechanics that Zelda and Sheik shared, as well as being fairly original between the fighters, with each of the characters showing a lot of personality, as well as Xenoblade Chronicles being very lacking for a new character in this game, even though it was very well researched. And I do plan on playing Xenoblade Chronicles this year, both of the games, 1, 2, actually 3 of the games, 1, 2, and 3, I plan on playing all 3 of them. And honestly, this is my Smash game. This is the character I made in Smash Ultimate. I can't put them higher or lower than anything else on this list. Because they are not only my Smash game, but I think they have the coolest gimmick in Smash with the second coolest stage. Third coolest, probably. Which is why I think overall, they deserve first place for my Smash Bros. DLC. Now, if you guys want to debate with me, I'm down to debate in the comment section. Everybody has their own opinion on this, but Pyra Mythra are my favorite characters in the Smash Bros. DLC. But I hope you guys enjoyed this list, because I enjoyed putting it together, and I can't wait to hear your guys' opinions. And also, I didn't feel like splitting the Wii U and Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC into 2 separate videos, because I felt like that would be kind of stupid, so I just did it all in one. And if you guys want to debate with me in the comment section, go right on ahead. I'm down to debate. I love having conversations about my opinion versus other people's. And other people will have different opinions, and I'm sure we can agree to disagree 100% of the way. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you guys did, comment down below, because I just want to hear how you guys would rank this video instead. But I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye! I just almost started treeing. Whoopsie daisy. No, cancel. Ha! Did you think that was it for the video? No, I forgot one character, and actually happens to be my favorite piece of Smash DLC. Steve, Alex, Zombie, and Enderman. Not only am I a massive Minecraft fan, but on top of that, we got 4 alts to this character, all representing different characters in the Smash world. Zombie, Enderman, Steve, Alex, all 4 of them. And also, they have the coolest mechanic in all Smash, which I totally didn't forget about at all, because I apologize, I did actually forget about them, but they are genuinely my favorite piece of Smash DLC. Like, I can't lie about that. because I would just have re-recorded the whole video if they were actually my favorite Smash fighter. But I'm a huge Minecraft fan, which gives me a little bit of bias on this list. I'm a huge fan of the whole mechanic of being able to place blocks, mine, use resources, like... Come on, this character is like a 4-in-1 DLC fighter for mechanic-wise. And then on top of that, you sit here and get a really cool set of maps, which can change by random, which all are fairly different and have blocks that can be broken, which is fantastic, with different platforms representing different biomes. And overall, the best piece of DLC, because not only did it come from Microsoft, but it came from the best-selling game of all time. But this is actually the end of the video. I'm not lying this time, and I'm not forgetting anybody. Because I was just looking up images for the pre-FP and the huge thing that I was going to use to represent this video, and I realized I forgot Steve, my favorite Smash DLC. I mean, it kind of sounds unbelievable that I would forget my favorite Smash DLC, but please believe me. But if you guys did enjoy, please feel free to debate with me. Because I know I enjoyed this, and I know I enjoyed forgetting Steve and accidentally almost putting him below Pyramithra, even though I'm a huge Minecraft fan, and if they would have let us insert our own skins for this character, I would have literally cried because I could be in Smash Brothers right now. But thank you all, and goodbye!